Literal equations. Literal equations means I'm giving you all variables and I want you to solve for one specific variable. This was pretty straightforward. You look and see which variable you're solving for. Make sure you make a note of that. In this case, we are solving for the m. All right, so this, oh, that's way too dark. This is the guy that we want to solve for right here. All right, so we just look at what's happening. We have m divided by v. So to get v by itself, we are going to multiply both sides. To get m by itself, we're going to multiply by the v. So multiply both sides by that v. And then you hopefully should have gotten that m by itself equals d times v, or v times d. Order does not matter. Unit rate just means you want it for one, not for 4 pages. So if I'm reading 1,100 words in 4 pages, how many words do I have on 1 page? Anytime you're trying to find a unit, you literally just divide. So you should have taken 1,100 divided by your 4. That's all you had to do here to get your unit rate. Unit just means divide them. We want how many words in 1 page, and you should have gotten 275 words in 1 page. Unit just means divide. Convert. Converting 88 feet per 1 second. We need to change your feet to miles. We'll start with that. Since my feet is on top here, my feet needs to be on bottom here, and my miles on top. I have 5,280 feet in every 1 mile. So that's that first conversion. The next conversion is hour. Right now my seconds is on bottom, so I need seconds on top and hours on bottom. There are 60 seconds in a minute. There are 60 minutes in an hour. There are 3,600 seconds in an hour. So this should have been 3,600. And you can literally just multiply across. Multiply your 88 times your 1 times your 3,600. That is your numerator. Then your 1 times your 5,280 times your 1 is your denominator. Then just divide numerator by denominator. Numerator divided by denominator. And you would get 60 miles per hour. You can check this. Did I do this right? By saying, okay, my feet cancel here. My seconds cancel here. And I end up with miles per hour, which is what they ask for. Miles per hour. 60 miles an hour. Times when you could just have an x up there, or you can have like this has an x minus 1 and x plus 1. Either way, you are going to cross multiply. So I'm going to say the 9 times the x minus 1, and remember parentheses have to go around it when I have plus or minus, equals the 6 times the x plus 1. At this point, we're just solving. We're going to distribute 9 times x, 9 times negative 1, equals 6 times x plus 6 times 1. So these are grouped, and you need to remember that you're going to have to do that. To solve for this, you are going to just subtract your 6x over here, which cancels there. So then you want to put your numbers on the other side. On the left-hand side, 9x's minus 6x's, that's 3x's. Bring down your equal. 6 plus 9 equals 15. My final step here is to divide by 3. So x here should equal 5. The next thing that we did with ratios was proportions, okay? So here's where you want to pay attention. Make sure that they are in the order you think they're in. I think they were nice here and did it, but look at your equivalent or your similarity statement. A corresponds to D. So A corresponds to D. B corresponds to E, right? So just make sure you know which ones correspond to each other so that you know you put them in the right order, all right? They are looking for X. So you're just going to set a proportion. You're going to say X is what I'm looking for. It corresponds to the 17. And then I can use any 2 other sides, but specifically I need to have 2 numbers for the next fraction. So I'm going to use the sides that have both of my numbers, 20 and 25. You can cross cancel here. I would actually reduce first. You cannot you cross multiply. You cannot cross cancel. you can reduce top to bottom. So I would actually reduce this guy first before I cross multiply, just because it makes my numbers smaller. Divide both by 5, right? And then just cross multiply. 5 times x equals 4 times 17. So 5x equals 68. Do we get a decimal here? Yes, we do. So 13 point, well, and 2/5, so 0.6, right? 13.6. That's what we should have gotten for our side length. All right. You will have to write percentages as fractions and decimals and vice versa, any of the combination there. Remember, when you have a percentage, you just move it to get your decimal, and you put it over 100 to get your fraction, rather. So this is 0.5%, not 5%, okay? So if I have 0.5%, I need to move that decimal place over 2 to get 0.005, and I actually need to put 0.5 over 100, and you never have decimals and fractions together, by the way. So you need to get him where he is not a decimal on top. You can multiply by 2, right? Multiplying 0.5 by 2 gives you 1. So, you know, there's a couple ways to do that. Or once you have it as a decimal, you can actually put that over your places, right? So if you already have your decimal is 0.005, this is tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So you can actually put 5 over 1,000 and reduce. All right, but either way, you should get 0.005 as your decimal and 1 over 200 as your fraction. All right, 1 over 200 as your fraction. Original amount was $900. It changed by $36. What was the percent change? The percent change is always going to be how much it changed divided by the original amount, and then they want it in percent, so multiply that by 100, 4% increase. The new amount is going to be the original amount by how it changed. So the original plus how it changed. They actually said that it added 36. If it had been reduced by 36, then you would subtract, obviously. But in this case, you just had to add those. 936 was your new amount. The price of the stock rose from a yearly low of $9.68 to $18.61. What was the stock's percent increase? Remember, when we're talking about percent increase or decrease, the top is the subtraction of the two. You can subtract in any order because it is absolute value. All right, so you can do your starting minus your ending or vice versa. It doesn't matter. You're doing absolute value. Divided by, always divided by your original. All right, so in this case, you would have said 1861 minus 968 divided by 968. This is your original. And your percent increase there was 92.2%. 92.2%. Remember, multiply by 100 first and then round to your nearest decimal place if it wants it in, like, rounded to the nearest tenth. Ron earns 15% commission on his sales in addition to a $1,500 monthly salary. Determine his monthly sales goal if he budgets $3,750 as his total monthly income. No matter what, he is going to get $1,500. In addition to that, he is going to get whatever he sells, his sales, times his 15% commission. Remember, in decimal, we want 0.15. That should equal how much he makes total, which is this guy. All right, so you're going to subtract your 1,500 from both sides. All right, when you solve that, you will have whatever he sells times the 15% equals what, 2250 there. All right, and then we just divide by that 0.15. So if you take that divided by 0.15, he should be selling $15,000 in order to make that. And you can check it. 15,000 times 15% plus the amount that he's going to get, 1,500, should equal to 3,750. Julie drives 120 miles from Green up to Newton at 46 miles an hour, while Beth drives from Newton to Green up at 34 miles per hour. How long will it take for Julie and Beth to meet each other if they leave at the same time? This is meeting in the middle, so I am going to add my distances to each other. Julie, her rate is 46. Her time, we do not know. Her distance is going to be 46 multiplied by her time. Beth, her rate is 34. They left, it says, we're going to assume they left together right here because of this guy right here, if they leave at the same time. So we can just put the same x there. It's the same time. And we can say 34x. I add these distances, so 46x plus 34x should equal the total distance apart, which was 120 miles. That's how far apart those two cities are. And so we're just going to add those up. 46 and 34 give us what? 80x divided by 120. They're going to give us a decimal here. I think so. Yep. 12 over 8, which is 1.5. So 1.5 hours.